Hello, this is Christopher Parker. I guess I'm starting a podcast now called um, a little bit something about my life so people will get a better idea who I am, where I come from. Um, I have started a podcast today that will um, be done in different episodes and, of course, um, be done at different times, being raw and real and honest with as many people as possible, those that are paying attention to me, who are going along with me on this journey that I have taken at the age of 55, a little late in life, but I feel that it was necessary, especially as I was a person that started a brand. And now that it is getting ready to take itself, make itself more, should I say, more involved, but something that is going to be important for people to understand and listen to in the future. But episode one, before I became an addict, um, before I ever touched drugs, before I caught a case, before jail, detox, recovery, or the nonprofit, I was just a regular person. I had dreams. I had people who loved me. I had plans I actually believed in. And that's the part of the story most people never hear. Because once you're labeled an addict, everything before that gets erased. But today, I want to bring that person back to life because addiction didn't start my story, it interrupted it. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Christopher Parker, and this is Recovery Impact, a space where we talk honestly about addiction, recovery, incarceration, and rebuilding purpose from the ground up. This series isn't about glorifying the struggle, it's about telling the truth so that someone listening might realize they're not broken, they're just human. Before I became an addict, before the mugshots, before the labels, before the shame, there was a life that mattered. And if you're listening right now, whether you're struggling, sober, or supporting someone who is, this episode is for you. Who I was. Before addiction, I wasn't a stereotype. I wasn't trying to ruin my life. I wasn't planning to end up in jail. I wasn't thinking about recovery programs or nonprofits. I was just living. I had personality. I had humor. I had ideas. I had goals, even if I didn't know exactly how to reach them. Like most people, I wanted stability. I wanted respect. I wanted to feel like I mattered. I wanted to belong. I had relationships, family and friends, people who saw potential in me, even when I didn't fully see it myself. And I need to say this clearly, addiction doesn't start because someone is weak. It starts because someone is missing, or something hurts, or something inside feels unresolved. At the time, I didn't have language for that. I just knew there were moments I felt restless, unsettled, like something wasn't clicking. Looking back now, I can see the signs, but back then I didn't call them warnings. I called them stress. I called them boredom. And I called them just life. I didn't know how to talk about emotions. I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't know how to slow down and sit with discomfort. Nobody teaches you that. So when I found something that quieted my mind, that took the edge off, that made me feel confident, relaxed, or accepted, it felt like relief, not danger. And that's important for people to understand. Nobody wakes up and says, "Today I'm going to become an addict." You wake up saying, I just want to feel okay. My experiences with substance weren't dramatic, they weren't chaotic, they weren't scary. They felt normal, social, relaxing, like I had finally found the thing that helped me fit into the world a little easier. And that's how addiction sneaks in. Not through destruction, but through comfort. It doesn't knock on your door screaming, it whispers. It says, you deserve this. You're fine. This helps. At first, it feels true. What nobody tells you is this: the same thing that makes you feel better will eventually make you feel empty. But by then, you don't notice the switch. Without realizing it, my identity began to change, not overnight, but slowly. The things I cared about started shifting. The people I spent time with started changing. The boundaries, if I had any, I once had started dissolving. I wasn't out of control yet, but I wasn't fully in control either. And that's the gray area where most people get stuck. Because from the outside, everything still looks fine. We're functioning, we're surviving, we're telling ourselves, I got this. But eternally, something is slipping. What I didn't know back then was this: I was trying to self medicate emotions I didn't know how to name. I was trying to numb pressure, insecurity, fear, and unresolved pain. I wasn't bad, I wasn't broken, I was unprepared. And the system doesn't step in at the beginning, it steps in at the end. After the arrest, after the damage, after the consequences. But what if I told you the full story instead? If I could talk to the version of myself before addiction, I would say this: you don't need to escape your life, Chris. You need to understand. You don't need to numb. You need to support. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be honest. And asking for help isn't weakness, it's wisdom. This episode isn't about regret, it's about recognition. Because before addiction, there was a human being with value, and that person never disappears. They just get buried. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about the people I met in addiction, the relationships, the survival mindset, and the invisible rules of that world. If you're listening and you see yourself in this story, or you recognize someone you love knows this, recovery isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you are before the world and substance convince you otherwise. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs it. Follow the podcast, support Retrain the Brain Foundation. Coming soon is Recovery Impact Clothing and Company. Check it out. I'll definitely keep you guys informed because recovery doesn't end with sobriety, it begins with purpose. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next episode.